Being a wife, but let me tell you something. Being a wife is making sure you have the soap powder. Being the wife is making sure you might throw those clothes in the washing machine. Being a wife is not coming to pick up your drawers after you. That is
Amen.
Who said you had to pick up the drawers? Y'all want to go. This is my point here with that. We always act like that's such a big thing. Like,
I know,
especially for the women. Wait a minute. Especially for the women that got kids. Y'all should be cleaning the house anyway. Y'all should be cooking anyway. So you cook.
Great catch. I'm a great wife. I'm a great this. And it's like that hasn't been validated.
All these single girls are yours too. I don't know.
The one thing that I'm seeing is that when you're dealing with a grown-ass man,
yeah, it is.
He has a vision and a purpose for his life.
Thanks.
And what he wants in the future. And what I see is that a lot of these modern women don't want to fall into and play their part in that purpose and in that vision because they have their own purpose and their own vision. Mm-hmm. Not sure responsibility to motivate a man.
Right.
A man should have his own motivation, his own direction. Your job is to inspire. It's a complete difference. I think a lot of ladies get a man.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Candid Convos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Chloe on deck tonight. Say what's up to the people, Chloe.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday again. Man, shout out to all of y'all. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're coming in from. YouTube, Facebook, in the building. We appreciate you. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're at. Also, do me a favor and hit that like button, hit that share button as well. Yep. Smash that like button for us. Smash that like button. Man, shout out to J.U. Griffin in the building. He said, hello, everyone. Much love, favor, and respect to all of you this evening. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you coming out with us tonight, supporting the platform, as always. J.U. Griffin in the building. All right. Let me circle around. So we're going to get right on into this one tonight. So let me do this real fast. All right, so here's a link to join us on the panel. You can drop this in your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge. If you're coming into an Apple device, you have to leverage Safari for the browser. Yeah, but you can join us on the panel. You do have the ability to cut your camera off if you choose. We always encourage you to keep your camera on. In addition to the link here, we also have it in the chat feeds as well. So you can catch it at the Candid Convos page on YouTube or Facebook, or you can shoot me a message at Quay Price on Facebook and I'll send it to you that way. Or you can drop a comment and we'll get it to you that way as well. But we'll leave this up here for a little bit as we get into the show. All right. So I don't know, Chloe, you want to just get right on into this tonight? We can go quick with it.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
All right.
We're
I'm gonna drop this link down for a minute. Let us know if y'all need a link to join us on the panel tonight. So, topic for tonight. Do modern women see the value in men? Interesting, right? Let me run that back. Topic for tonight. Do modern women see the value in men? Okay. So, yeah, we got a couple videos tonight. Let's say we're not gonna make this a long night because I want to get right into this because I got some questions myself, just based on what I saw. So yeah, we're gonna have to go there. All right, let me oh, there you go. What's going on, Vince?
Hello. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
Good. Did I miss the first video?
No, I'm about to run it right now, man.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and kick off video number 1. Because I got some questions around this, so I'm gonna see what y'all say. All right, video number 1.
You're very handsome. It's nothing wrong with your outfit. It's just not given for me personally. But you do look very put together. You look very nice. I love your hair. Bone structure, go crazy. All that.
Appreciate that. I'm gonna keep it a stack. He a pro athlete. Even if he get rejected by all these women,
he still win.
He win in the end. Like, there's gonna be. I'm sorry, my black queens, but for every time y'all reject one of these kings, there's going to be a snow bunny ready to take him, and she gonna rub his feet, and she gonna make the best potato salad with raisins he'll ever eat, and she gonna live lavish, and y'all gonna be sitting there like, why do black men date white women? And this is it.
Okay, straight like that. Topic for tonight. Do modern women see the value in men? Okay. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen that show before. So that was the Balloon. I forgot the official name of the show, but that's the Balloon show right there, right? So let's give y'all a little backstory. So the gentleman that was on the show, he was a professional. I think he was like a
basketball.
Secondary league basketball player, but you can still consider him a pro player. He's not in the NBA, right? But you heard the young lady. You know, she said she was feeling his little fit, and she said his bone structure and all this stuff. So she was feeling him, but she couldn't rock with him. She just had to let him go. So then the brother, I want to say that gentleman and that young lady are married. They got a little podcast popping. And he's just making the point that while the sisters are passing these brothers up, there is, as he says, a snow bunny that is waiting in the wing to snatch this brother up. So he was saying, while y'all keep turning these fellas down, y'all missing out on these opportunities. So I wanted to have this conversation because I have seen this. Yep, I have seen this type of scenario before where a brother will get looked past because his height or his salary or all these types of things that we like to do. He's not swaggy enough, but he will get looked past. And he will get scooped up by a quote unquote, as my man said, a snow bunny, and it be on and popping. So I'm trying to understand. Basically what I'm trying to understand is why do we see that? Yeah, why do we see these brothers get turned down by essentially these black men getting turned down by black women, but then they will not be turned down by other women from other races? Would you want to say something? Go ahead, Chloe.
Now I was going to say, if you don't mind, please, can you replay the video again?
Sure. Run that back. Oh, shout out to Donovan in the building as well. What's going on with you, Donovan? Appreciate you checking in tonight, brother. Shout out to I see Joe down there as well. Shout out to you, Joe. Hopping on with us, but y'all go ahead and run that back again. Give me one sec.
You're very handsome. It's nothing wrong with your outfit. It's just not given for me personally. But you do look very put together. You look very nice. I love your hair. Bone structure, go crazy. All that.
Appreciate that.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. He a pro athlete. Even if he get rejected by all these women,
he still win.
He win in the end. Like there's gonna be. I'm sorry, my black queens, but for every time y'all reject one of these kings, there's going to be a snow bunny ready to take him, and she gonna rub his feet, and she gonna make the best potato salad with raisins he'll ever eat, and she gonna live lavish, and y'all gonna be sitting there like, why do black men date white women? And this is it.
All right, so that's the video right there. So yes, I'm trying to understand it. Yeah, I'm trying to understand it. Why is it that these fellas get turned down by the sisters, but then they will get scooped up by a lady from another race, and she be off and running? Yeah, she be off and running, and everything is popping and it's good, and he can be as short as he want to be. He can be as average earner as he want to be, and she doing her thing. So I'm just trying to understand what is happening. What is the difference? I'm gonna come to y'all. Let me get this. Kenyatta say, hey, everyone, just getting in from Step Aerobics. Shout out to Step Aerobics. Go on and get it in, Kenyatta. Yeah, we love to hear that. We love to hear that. Shout out to you joining us tonight. Let's see. Donovan said, I wish I had a good explanation. Well, I'm trying to figure it out, Donovan. Yeah, I want to know what's up. So let me come to the panel. So panel, anybody, any thoughts on your mind? Vince, Chloe, Joe, anybody? Why are we seeing this? What is the difference? Like, what? Somebody make it make sense to me.
I think that I would say that one thing that I feel I'm noticing is women in general don't seem to value, and this is why we titled the show this way, right? Women in general just don't seem to value men anymore. I think it's because they don't really know what they're looking at, right? I don't think so. I think that women have been so conditioned to want this ideal type of man, right? This whatever is societally acceptable, right? He has to look a certain way. He has to provide at a certain level. And I think that it's kind of crazy, right? Because the conditioning is so strong and the messaging and the narrative has been pushed so heavy that now women don't even really know how to read a man anymore. If he doesn't look as stereotypical as they've made themselves look, then they don't know what they're looking at, right? As women, we have been conditioned to feel like we even have to carry ourselves a certain way. We have to look a certain way. We have to dress a certain way. We have to speak a certain way. So we're now all walking around like these carbon copies of each other. Nobody is unique anymore. Nobody is individual anymore. We don't even think differently anymore. We all think the same. Whatever they tell us is socially acceptable. Whatever they tell us, we should think. However they tell us we should vote. It's all groupthink, right? And of course, I'm speaking in general, but it's all groupthink. So now when it comes to men, they don't even know how to really pick. I am convinced that women don't even really know how to pick men. They don't even know how to pick. So when we say pick better, they get triggered because they're like, you just keep saying pick better. It was like, yes, because if you need discernment. But before discernment, you actually need, discernment should come first, but you actually need to know what you want. And what you want should agree with what you need. And that's the problem, because now women are picking men, clothes, shoes, whatever. They're picking it off of what they want. But the problem is they're being told what to want. So how do you pick a man? They're telling you what you want. They're telling you the type of man you should want. That's why everybody is saying he's got to be 6 feet and taller. He's got to make a certain amount of money. It's a script. And I just think that's part of the reason why women are saying, oh, it's just your energy is off, or oh, it's that. And it's all cap. It's because you don't fit the cookie cutter ideal man that they've been told they should want. And so they pass you. But these, listen, some of these women from other cultures, I'm sure you could find some outliers, but they don't care about that like that. They don't care about that like that. They just want a man who they can provide, who is a solid man, stable, able to raise a family with. They just want what y'all calling basic. They're building a whole life with those type of men.
Thanks.
I think that's the big difference.
Okay. Let me Vince, Joe, y'all got go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of Chloe. I think that's a great point that Chloe made. That last statement is that. Then also you have to understand that in our generation, we haven't been taught how to vet for potential partners, potential husbands. So a lot of times, especially these ladies in their 20s and their 30s, they feel like they got time. If he's not coming with the perfect game, oh, I got time, I'm going to wait. Yeah, he's an 8 out of 10, but I want 10 out of 10. And I think a lot of ladies from other cultures understand the value of a man and really know how to vet potential, real potential. And they're not just going based off that tingling feeling. They're going based off, how's his family, how's his work ethic, things of that nature. These other ladies are basing it off, how he make me feel. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's definitely that.
Okay, that makes sense. Joe, you want to say anything, or are you good, man?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of like three things that come to mind. That woman in the clip, she basically described how much she was attracted to him. There was no, based on her description of him, chiseled, this, tall, everything that a lot of women would say they want in a man, tall, dark, and handsome. I mean, from when a black woman is saying that to his face, I've had it happen to me, where they'll describe exactly what they're looking for. But it's almost like they auto reject themselves. So I think part of it is because they don't believe that they're worthy of that type of man, or they feel like that before that man can possibly reject her, she'll reject him first. So I won't be hurt by what even if in his mind he might think I want her. I've had it happen before where it's like, actually, I like you, and they'll be like, what? You like me? But they'll reject me before I even got a chance to say it. I was into you the whole time. So part of it is their ego, and I guess self-preservation. The other part I think is, if it's not auto rejection, it's power. It's the sense of control. It's the sense of, I don't know how to say this. It's almost like you have a high self-esteem, and I don't necessarily like how high your self-esteem is. Maybe mine is not quite where yours is at, but it shouldn't be that high. Let me take you down a notch or two. I don't even think it's like intentional on a conscious level. It's kind of like you think too highly of yourself, black man, and this man that I actually find attractive. Let me knock you down a few pegs. So there's that whole, playing hard to get thing that I noticed a lot of black women have done, even when I was coming up in school. Started around high school is where they become challenging. Whereas the man at the end of the clip, when he described how the white women will come after him, that is absolutely true. They don't play those games. They don't play hard to get. If anything, they do everything they can to boost my ego. Oh wow, you're so tall, you're so chocolate, you're so this, you're so handsome. Things that a lot of black women who I've tried to date would go out of their way not to say or not to acknowledge. It's the strangest thing. But a white woman would say all the things that I would imagine a black woman would say to me. I'm like, wow, tall, dark, chocolate. I mean, all these things, we'll make pretty babies. So they really gas you up, and they make you feel like the man that you imagine a black woman would make you feel. So it's kind of confusing because the women that look like you aren't doing the things that you would expect them to do. But the women who look nothing like you, the paler, the blue eyes, the blonde, the Latinas, all the foreign women who came up on me, talk to me, want to date me, it confused me. It still confuses me to this day. But this is the conclusion I've come up with thus far. And lastly, I think part of it is maybe we're just not. I think they have a stronger attraction for maybe whiter guys. Even though they might say they want the tall, dark, and handsome thing, it seems like they grab the way they treat white guys is different, black women, than the way they treat the black guys. Whereas I don't treat women. I see beauty no matter the skin color, but I think it means something more to black women, the ethnicity of a man or the skin color of a man, his heritage. So if that's their thing, that's their thing. They're just not into me. I think I speak for a lot of men where it's like I don't really argue with it. I used to be upset about it because I was confused when I was much younger. I just accepted it. I just said, well, black women, ironically enough, me coming from black women, being around black women most of my life, don't really want to date me. And when I try to date them, I've been mistreated very, very, very poorly compared to white women, where they'll go out the way, let me take you on a dinner date. Let me do this for you. Let me give you a back rub. Or you got to kind of pull teeth with some black women to get them to do these things. So what the guy said in the end was very true. He's not, you can tell he's not bothered because he's like, okay, cool. I know you're fronting, you're faking the front, but you missing out on your blessing. But you're trying to make me come down to your level for some reason. Telling you, there's something they will tell you, oh, the white girls, I admire you. That's another thing they do. They really know how to stroke a man's ego. And it's not superficial. Like, oh, they're just saying that to get something for you. No, they'll say it and they'll mean it. That's the thing. It's like there's for me, there hasn't been many ulterior motives behind it. Like, oh, what is she going to get out of this? There was a skit that I watched with this comedian where this white girl that was like dime piece. She looked so good. And this is, I promise, this is how almost all black men who had their first white girl felt with a white girl. She invited him to his place. He showed up to the place. And he kept looking around the corners, trying to see what's the catch. What's going on here? She started offering him food. She started offering a place to stay, rubbing his feet, doing all these extra things before they got down to business. He's like, he's still, even in the process of him getting down with business, is looking around like, what's going on? Like, is there a catch or something? Is there a boogeyman behind the door? Like, but there was no catch. He got, she cleaned him up, gave him a nice little sandwich out the door and said, come back and see me later. And he was just kind of like, what just happened? And that was my experience. It's like, they'll gas you up and they'll mean it and they'll stand by it. But you don't, for whatever reason, I just don't get that very often from black women. So
okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I gotta say something to Joe's point.
Go ahead,
I think
man.
more so, it's the culture. I told you I had the exact same thing with. I've never really dated white women, so I don't have that experience. But I remember when my best friend was dating a white woman, and I told you we went to visit them in Fowlerville, and she had the breakfast laid out and fruit and everything. And I think the closest thing that I came to that is Remy. And I think it because they come from family. They come from a place where they respect their men. They reverence their men. So I think that's more of the difference than the whole black and white thing. Because most of our women don't have fathers, so they've never seen their mother reverence their father. She probably doesn't have a good relationship with her father, so they have a low value of a man. Why should I do that? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a lot of it. It's the culture.
Okay, no, I get that. I get that. I guess my question would be, because I said I really want to understand it, right? And I said I'm using the video. And before I get into this, everybody who's watching right now, hit the like button for us, smash that like button for us. Definitely YouTube, smash that like button for us if you're watching right now. But yeah, I'm using the video for context, like I said, because I really want to understand it. Yep. So I'm looking at the young lady in the video. She is essentially giving her feedback on his brother that's standing right in front of her. Now he's 6 feet tall, making six figures. I mean, he's checking the boxes. She even gets down to the point of talking about his bone structure. So she's looking at the structure of his face, right? So it gets all the way to that point for her to then reject them.
Clothes.
Right,
Oh,
right.
you got the
So
wrong sweater on today. What?
yeah.
That's the
So
reason why.
we get all the way to that point to reject this brother. And this brother, for the most part, falls into the criteria of what ladies today say that they're looking for. But then, like I said, on the flip side, another young lady will come in from a totally different space. And let's say you make a valid point, Vince, you know, it's definitely a culture difference. But she comes in from a totally different space and will take that quote unquote reject and turn that man into a whole husband, father, businessman, you name it. You know, listen, he can be, I'll take away the basketball, pro basketball. I'll take that away. This can be an average working, he worked for the water department. Mm-hmm. Yep, and she will take that water department man, she will stop working, will be a whole stay-at-home mom off of that water department salary, and will treat this man like he the best thing that ever crossed her path. But then on the flip side, we just watched the young lady turn that man down. And I'm just trying to understand what is the disconnect? Is it just disrespect? Is it self-sabotaging? Is it like I'm trying to understand what it is, because once again, you know, like my man said in the video, you know what I'm saying, that the queens are basically, they gonna miss this opportunity and somebody else is gonna capitalize off this opportunity. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how do we turn that corner so that is not the situation. Yeah, because I said I already know, you know, as we continue to hear in these, you know, podcast spaces and social media spaces, the pickings is slim, if you will, right? There's not enough good brothers out here, or not enough brothers out here making six figures and 6 feet tall and all of this stuff. But at the same time, we still turning these dudes down. So I'm trying to understand what the real disconnect is. Is it not enough of these brothers out here that the ladies say that they want? Or to your point, Vince, do they just not know how to, you know, actually to Chloe's point, they just don't know how to pick them anymore? Like, what is really or is it just we at a point where it's just so much of a disdain for each other? It's like, I don't care if you do come correct. I'm, you know, to Joe's point, I'm about to humble you and put you back in your place because you too confident out here.
Oh,
like, I'm just trying to understand what is really happening, because I said at the end of the day, I think it is definitely at the root, you know, of why, you know, or definitely plays a part in why we cannot pull these relationships together and put these people together. So I saw you come off mute, Chloe. Do you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I think it's probably all of those. I think it's a combination of all of those things. Mm-hmm. I think you have to put them all together. You know, my points, Vince's points, Joe's points, I think you have to put them all together and say that gives us a full picture of what's actually happening. But at the core of all of that, I do agree with you that there seems to be this underlining hurt, you know, and bitterness that we have between us as Black men and Black women. And like Joe said, this can go all the way back to high school and even before then. Like, I think it's something to be said when, as kids, teenagers, even, I'll say teenagers, and you're still, I mean, to me, you know, you're a teenager, but you're still a kid. You have very little experience, and you got a lot more to learn at that point. But even us to be, you know, calling ourselves discriminating against who we're going to date based off of how dark or how light they are. That's insane. Mm-hmm. That just tells you right there that there's some underlying issue that we have, because we shouldn't even be thinking like that, especially that young. Like, why would we care? You know, so it's kind of like there's something there, and it's obviously generational. It's something that kind of gets passed down, which means that it's been going on for a long time. There is something that exists between Black men and Black women, and Black men and Black women. And I think it's crazy though, because as much as we see that happening, Black women will still say, after reading Black men to filth, they'll still say, but I can't be with anybody but a Black man.
That's weird.
And it's
I never
crazy.
understood
It's
that.
like, how do you read your man? Because the Black man is your man. That is the man that was designed for you, right?
Right.
And you are literally, you read him to filth. He's not this, he's not that, can't get right, but I just can't see myself with anybody else but a Black man. It's insane. This is how I know that there's some conditioning that's happening. And naturally, your natural innate desire is to be with a Black man. It's ingrained in you. Yet for some reason, you do everything, like Joe said, you do everything you can to sabotage your chances of getting with a Black man. So I agree. It's something there. And I think that's really what we need to examine and get to the root of that. But nobody wants to have that conversation.
Well, it takes too much time. And we don't, I mean, as a Black man, I don't have time to psychoanalyze people and try to figure out, well, why doesn't she like me? She's Black. She looks like me. Why does she treat me like this? It's like a passing thought. And it's like, damn, that's fucked up. All right. Well, then I turn around and there's a white girl hitting on me. I'm like, damn, she look good too. And then immediately I forget about the last girl who would stand me up on a date and agree to do it and be like, dang, that's messed up. Cool. Well, I'm already here. Oh, dang. Well, it looks like I'm going on a date after all with this other colored woman. And it's like, I didn't expect it to turn out that way, but that's how it goes. So we don't have time to I think that's a job that only professionals should do at this point, because we, as Black men, it doesn't seem like our voice matters in terms of what they want to do and how they want to move around with us. Like I said, it seems like they want to cater more so to other races and ethnicities of man, which is cool with me. And I mean, I just look at the way in which they carry themselves. Why do Black women dye their hair blonde? Why do they straighten it? And it's like, okay, I'm with a white woman, her hair is blonde, her hair is straight. It's like, who are they trying to attract here? Because if we're saying we like the afro, we like the natural, but it's not us they want. If that's what we're saying overwhelmingly, but then I say that that's what we're looking for, and it's not. No, it's the white, and that's cool. You want the type of men that you want that are attracted to the woman that look like not like you. So you want to imitate that. That's the conclusion I've come to just over like a couple of years. I'm like, dang, 1 + 1 = 2. So this is what y'all say. Y'all don't really want us. Again, that's okay. But we don't have time to try to figure out why that's so and then fight against that or try to make something work from out of that. It's just like, you want what you want and go for it and good luck. So that's all we can do. You're not paying me to be your therapist or to unload all of your traumas that you may have had from maybe your father in your life who was Black, or your mother who said things about your father that was unsavory. We don't no, time is money. We're out here working. We got to get resources, and it's the woman that comes to us and show interest that we like, regardless of the color of their skin. It just so happens to be, at least in my case, overwhelmingly white woman. Even when I go outside, so I'm gonna give this one a chance. It's just like, dang, man, I thought nope. It just something comes out. It might start off good. Oh, okay, we're on the road. And then it's one of those 3 things that happened that I mentioned earlier that takes place. I'm like, dang, you too? Oh, well.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Let me go to Mr. Research. Mr. Research, you want to say anything, brother?
Absolutely, man. Grab your pen and paper. We about to go on a ride. So here's the thing. Let's start with the non-melanated women. So Vince is right. It is a culture thing. So these people, I'm not saying they're good or bad. They just pretend better.
Okay.
Let that absorb in your head for a minute. I'm an international dude. Been international since 17. No military. The Asian lady wants to get with you because she got an internal clock, same as the Indian Desi girl. They age faster. They got to get somewhere before 30, 35. It's not like the melanated person holding on to their beauty till they 40, 45 during their 50. The Asians got to get somewhere. So when you see them, they trying to select and they trying to get somewhere. All right. I work in medical. Asians try to have babies quick. They trying to get somewhere. All right. So this is why I give you this game about pretend better. Now, let's move to the brothers before I get to the sisters. Let's move to the brothers. Ain't no hate, but a lot of dudes ain't never been praised in this black community. You got to understand, this black community puts most of these dudes fifth. What does your father tell most of these dudes? My baby girl come first, then my wife, then me, and then you. So a lot of these dudes ain't never been told when they was 12, like a Jewish dude, you come first. Let me give you this game. A lot of dudes ain't been told like these Portuguese and these Latins, hey, your sister's older than you, but you the boy. We counting on you. Like these Italians tell their sons. These black dudes don't go through that. Now, I went through it because I had a patriarch mother. Oh, that's a bad word in the community. We only supposed to like matriarchs. We only supposed to. Oh, matter of fact, C-Lay, you arrogant. Now here come the insults. Here come the words. See, what J.O. is trying to tell you is he was just living like a human. How dare you? How dare you live like a human? Don't you know you need approval first? What does a brother come across the street? You know what, J.O.? Man, you need to, let me subjugate you. Let me put you in your right place. Whoa. Calm down, man. Have you ever seen a black man go up to an Asian man who's sitting in his car while his Asian white pump gas, and he'll tell that Asian man, you ain't no real man. Why you? That's unfortunate what we do in this community. Let me open up your mind a little bit. This community has been pandering for a very long time. We have not been symbiote. We have not been yin yang. This is no hate to the ladies. This is the brothers doing. The brothers have been telling their own son, hey, bow down to this. So the problem now is those ladies, and I say this respectfully, once they start getting empowered, you got to remember, they only started using the typewriter in 1960. On the job training, Vince, Qua, you used to have on the job training. You didn't even need no degree. As long as you was willing to do the job, you could. Oh, now let me talk about work before I bring in the black women part of it. Are you guys, or am I together on these jobs? When I see another black lady, do we think we taking over? I know two Asians see each other. They think they taking over the whole department. Two Indians see each other. They taking over the whole department. Hell, two Jamaicans see each other. They taking up. So how can we be yin yang in the dating world, and we're not even like that when we see each other in the workforce? See, Vince starting to get it. He's starting to, that whole light bulb is coming over the head. See, this ain't really about black women. Notice I'm saving that for last. It's about the brothers have been belittling the nerdy girl for so long because he want free sex. Hey, why lie to a chick? Tell her straight up, hey, look, I'm hollering at you. I'm hollering at a couple other people. You know, man, you ain't gonna get no girl like that. Oh, so you willing to lie for your pimping? Your pimping ain't strong enough to where you can just go and say, hey, this is how I'm living. You choose whether you want to get on this roller coaster. You too arrogant. And I'm gonna start ending right here. Because we've been male hyenas for so long, pandering, many of our ladies are just used to us serving.
Interesting.
Many of our ladies are, notice I'm getting into the black women now. Many of our ladies are just used to us pandering. So why would she respect you as a manager at the job when she's just a secretary? In her mind, she thinks you're lower than her. Oh, you gonna go to HR? You're not a real man, Qua. You're not a real man, Vince. You see how we do in this community? So now when the ladies start to picking, watch this. Of course, the Black women are going to attack Simone Biles when she finds a man that she loves. Chloe likes that one. It wasn't no Black men attacking Simone Biles. See, as a couple, y'all going to talk about that one later. Wasn't no Black men. When Beyonce's mama put out that, I told you it was going to be some pencil and notes on this one. When Beyonce's mama put out that beautiful movie about Black men, it was Black women attacking Beyonce's mama. Wasn't no Black men attacking.
Watch that.
Right. Do the research. So this is a cultural mentality where she can't even date a short guy for love because that ain't about love. She can't even date a beer belly guy. Not in this community. No. So when these other people like J.O. just go and naturally bump into somebody who's pretending better, of course he's going to be flabbergasted. He ain't never had nobody just peel his straw for his drink and put it in the glass. He ain't never had that. What? They doing this? But she's pretending because she's trying to get somewhere. So I say all that to say this. Our ladies now have been indoctrinated not with the married woman knowledge and what it takes to be in a good long-term scenario. She's indoctrinated with the She Raven YouTuber who's been arrested by the feds for scamming men. She's indoctrinated with the Cynthia G's who's sitting up here grifting so she can pay her rent money on her condo. See all those women, they won't even look at Vince as an option because of the gray on his beard. Oh, he old. But you go over to these other community. Oh, I like an older man. I'm okay. You know, where's the church? I'm sorry. Where's the church? The church used to have dating events. Church ain't even doing it. The mosque, Islamics don't even do it. So we have a damaged cultural scenario. So when you say you're trying to figure it out, Mr. Price, that pen and paper would have came in handy because, boy, I just gave you some classics.
No, like I said, it makes sense when you break it down, man. So basically, we have a deep rooted problem along with some heavy conditioning.
If you're not together in the workforce, how can you even imagine that you're together in dating? When you see four of y'all at the same spot, you're all acting as individuals. So there is no yin yang in the soul of each person. So now when they go to their boyfriends, girlfriends, of course the married people are going to be more better percentage wise. But think about the single people at the job and how they really feel. They're not of that mindset. That's why Chloe got to write a book and start teaching the women how to be married.
There it is. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, man. Because I said for me, when you talk about, even the correlation to what goes on, within the corporate setting, to me, a lot of that is a scarcity mindset. Yeah, people do not want to. I'll just call it. They don't want to link up because of the threat that, linking up with you may affect something that they're getting or may affect some money they making or some opportunity they may get. So it's like, now that I done finally got these couple dollars, I don't want nobody to possibly mess that up. So, you stay over there. I'm going to be over here. We eating good over here. I can buy my Louis and my Gucci and all that. But see, if I get too cool with you, you might mess up something. So I think that's where that mentality comes from. But to your point, then now that bleeds out into the relationship space. And then you tie in, let's say, the conditioning. Then you tie in some of the deep-rooted issues. Then you tie in some of the, when Vince was mentioning the fathers and things of that nature. When you tie all these things in, I guess this is why we see what we see. So, yeah, no, I was trying to get an understanding of it, because I said I hate to see these opportunities missed. That's how I look at it. These are opportunities, right? We're constantly saying that we're having a hard time finding a significant other because of A, B, and C. But then if that person does present themselves, and they're at 95% and we still throwing them out, for some other reasons that really don't have anything to do with that person directly, that's a problem. Yep. And then behind that, then we want to come back and still say it's not that many good men out here, or it's not that many good women out here. And it's like, you just threw one in the trash. Yep. And now, what I'm saying, the young lady from the other side, she done scooped them up and they got a whole family and then got married and properties everywhere and kids and private school and everything else. And it's like, why couldn't you end up in that scenario? But I said, as we kind of talked through it and had, hash through it, I see how it happens. Yep. And I see, I see why it continues to fester. Go ahead, Mr. Research. I saw you come off.
Let me add this. Let me ask Chloe this, and we can all learn from her next answer. This is going to be a psychological one, Chloe. So get prepared. If women really want love in the Black community, why is it that half of them always verbally use the talking point of, I don't want to be with a boring guy? Don't they realize that coupling gets a little boring here and there? Don't they realize that it's actual work? So listen to the conundrum of my question, Chloe. We as men understand you ladies are not always fascinating 24/7. But for whatever reason, the queen on the throne, Chloe, tells daughters and nieces, don't get with that guy over there. He's too short. Don't get with that guy over there. He's too boring. Don't get with that guy over there. He's not available. He's a manager. He ain't got time for me. Don't. Take it away, Chloe.
I like how you asked me this question like I can actually relate. I mean, it's a good question, because I have wondered the same thing. You're absolutely right. I have literally had women question, like, okay, and I'll give just like a little personal anecdote. Like, I've literally had, remember when I started dating my husband, and there were questions about him because he is, a more reserved personality, right? Like, he's just a more reserved personality. He's not loud or, boisterous. That's just not his personality. So because that's what they were used to being around. That's the men that, some who grew up in my family, some who, they had chosen. So I think that it was uncomfortable for them. I think that it was uncomfortable for them because they didn't know what to do with him. So they would ask me questions like, well, where'd you find him? And what's wrong with him? And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean what's wrong with him? Like, it's kind of insane, because I'm on the other side looking at what they chose and I'm going, what's wrong with them? Like, what? I mean, so I agree. I agree with you. And I wish I understood that mindset. I don't, and I don't. Other than, I think it goes back to something that Joe said. And I don't know if you were on when he said it, so you might have missed it. But Joe was speaking about women kind of self-sabotaging, and we're speaking, I feel like there is something there. I feel like, and I don't know, maybe you might have mentioned it, Mr. Research, but no, I think it was Joe. You were saying, Joe, that women sometimes will humble a man that they feel has a certain amount of self-confidence and has a certain amount of security in his self. And I sometimes wonder if I had to learn that as my husband and I, we got married, and, this is years later, I had some of those same people that asked me what was wrong with him. I had some of those same women, these were grown women, these were aunts and whatnot, come back and say, you know what? You picked a good guy. Like, your husband is the right kind of guy. You did the right thing. And I'm going, yeah, I know. But I think it's because they couldn't figure him out. He wasn't loud. He wasn't ignorant. He wasn't boisterous. He didn't have to do any of those things. But when he comes into a room, you just notice him because that's the energy that he brings. And I think some women don't know what to do with that. So, Mr. Research, when you come around and you're confident in yourself and you're well-spoken and you carry yourself well, some women are not going to know what to do with that because they are not going to, they know they probably aren't going to be able to hold a conversation with you very long. And they also know that they're not going to be able to get over on you, and they're not going to be able to run the typical game as well. And I think that sometimes plays a part in why women will call you boring. It's not that you're boring. They just feel like you might be smarter than they are. And that's going to make them feel some type of way about themselves. I mean, that's honestly how I see it. Other than that, I cannot tell you what's on the inside of the minds of some of these women.
That's real right there. That's real. Well, I know I got one more to throw in here. So I'm not gonna keep us on here all night. We'll keep this one straight to the point. I think Vince, I think you sent this one over to me, man. Let me see where you was going with this. So I got video number two. Slightly different, but video number 2.
Many of us don't know how to date who were raised in purity culture because we were taught your dating is supposed to lead to marriage. Many of us were raised by a generation of people who knew nothing of dating because they were taught to court. And just to be clear, so you understand, I'm not just making this up. Courting, by definition, according to Cambridge Dictionary, to court is to have a romantic relationship with someone that you hope to marry. That seems harmless, right? What's wrong with that? Having a romantic relationship with somebody that I hope to marry. That makes sense, but that's not dating. Because according to the same dictionary, to date is to regularly spend time with someone you have a romantic relationship with. There is nothing in there about marriage. You want to know why we have such a hard time with that? If we were raised in purity culture and we got the theology of partnership, because we were raised to believe you can't be romantically involved with somebody you're not married to.
Okay.
Because we were taught abstinence until marriage. So even when we come out of that just a little bit, a lot of us still hold on to the idea that if I'm going to be romantically involved with you, we need to be working towards marriage. So a lot of us get into relationships with people when we're courting them and they're dating
us. My God.
All right, so that's video number 2. So I know, Vince, I know you sent that one over, man. So what was you seeing, man? We can go ahead and talk about this one. Go ahead.
Me and Remy were talking about people that we know and how they be in these long-term relationships, and it traumatizes them for new relationships. I have a friend that just got out of a long relationship. He's trying to date someone else, and it's not going good because he's so used to that person that he dated for 8 years and that type. So I know the brother Kevin Samuel said something I didn't agree with at first, but when I thought about it, I was like, he said dating is dumb. And I thought about it. I said, well, you need to date and, you need to know somebody. But if you want to be married and be intentional, you should be courting. And I think that's the problem. We waste a lot of time with the wrong people. I see that so many times. These, me and my wife will say, if it ain't going nowhere in a couple years, I even say 6 months. If this not if you're intentional about being married, and if it's not going that way, cut your losses and move on. Because the longer you wait, the more damage, the more trauma, the more bad situations you're going to be in, and it definitely damages you for your new relationships. And I think about that because I dated for years, and I've known. And I hate to use me and Remy, but that's what I have to go with. We knew each other a year and got married.
Yeah.
Been married for 6. I feel like I've known her more than I've ever known anybody. And I've dated people longer than that and didn't know them. Lived with them longer than that and didn't know them. Because I wasn't intentional. I wasn't courting. I was just dating. You know what I'm saying? So then you did these babies get involved and bills, and I think we have to be intentional. I think we have to teach our kids to be intentional as early as possible and don't waste a lot of time. That's why I sent it to you. I was like, and then it said, that when he said that, we're courting them and they're dating us. That really hit home.
For sure. Yeah, no, it was a good sin, man. And just looking at it, I will add, I also think that the word or the phrase dating has fell victim to the redefining of words that we do today. Yeah, see, even dating, listen, there's definitely a difference between dating and courting. But for me, it all centrally comes back to intentions and being intentional. However you want to phrase it on the front end, right? Or whatever word you want to use. It all comes back to being intentional for me. And I think that's why we see such a difference in what a date looks like today, right? So just sitting back, looking at some of these little shows and videos and podcasts and all these things that's going on now, what you see is the difference that you see today is there's so much focus on the material part of dating. Yeah, so now it's about, how much is he spending when he take me out? What 3-star, 4-star restaurant is he gonna take me to on the first date? How much is he tipping? Did he do this or did he do that? There's all these material things now that are essentially in front of the actual purpose of the date. Yeah, see, before that didn't used to look that way. Yeah, the lady wasn't talking about where you taking her. You can only take her to Roof Chris. You can only do this. She wasn't talking like that. Yeah, she was looking to spend time with the man. So it didn't matter where they was at. Yeah, they could be at Belle Isle somewhere for all my Detroit folks. Like it'd be at Hart Plaza at the African Festival. Like it wasn't about no Roof Chris. It wasn't about no Ocean Prime. It was about spending time with the other person so I can get to know the other person so that we can see if we have things in common so that we can go further and turn this into something greater. Like that was the purpose behind dating when I came through. But now it is more of a show. It's like a material show. Yep, it's hyper focused on the type of restaurant. Not even just going to a restaurant, the type of restaurant that he take her to. Yep, the total of the bill. I don't want to go on a date with him if it ain't, he ain't taking me on some adventure date for the first date. I don't want to go on a date if it ain't super fun and interactive. And it's like I used to come in when I came through, ladies wasn't talking like that. They just wanted to go out with you and go have some fun with you. Yeah, so it looks nothing like it used to. And that's why I said I think the word dating has been or fell victim to this redefining of word. That's something that we do today. We keep wanting to redefine everything. Yeah, we done redefine the word marriage. Yeah, marriage done turned into, you know what I'm saying, the man pay all the bills and you just supposed to stay at home and do whatever you want to do with your money. That's what we done turned marriage into today, right? Yep, dating. that has been redefined. That we done redefined a narcissist. We done redefine and go down the list. We done redefine masculinity. We done redefine femininity. Like, we always want to change the definitions of everything. And I think dating has got caught in that. But I'll be quiet for a minute. Chloe, Joe, Mr. Research, y'all want to say anything on this at all? Go ahead, Chloe. I saw you come off.
I was just going to say, I think that it's interesting, right? Like, there was a portion of the clip, I think, towards the end where he says, and I'm not saying this is what he meant, but this is kind of where how it kind of came off, and I probably would have to watch the whole thing to get the context. But he was kind of saying, like Vince said, we get into these situations where we're courting someone, right? But they're dating us. And he was speaking more of someone who came from the purity culture. So someone who was maybe raised with a specific set of values that taught them to date with intention, to date for marriage, to not be out here sleeping around, basically, to save that for your potential spouse, right? And almost like we're at a disadvantage because of that. Not saying that's what he said, just saying that that's kind of almost what I took from it, from that particular clip. And I actually would say this. I would say that I think the fact that we've gotten away from that thought and that mindset is why we're in the situation we're in today. We never should have left the mindset that we should be more intentional about who we sleep with. We never should have left the mindset that we should be more intentional about who we spend time with and dating. Courting versus dating. We never should have gotten off of that mindset, because perhaps if we would have stayed in that mindset, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. The problem is right now, we've done so much sexing and so much dating that we don't value either. We don't value sex anymore. We don't value our bodies anymore. We don't value the concept of actually getting to know someone. Courting looks like being okay with going on a coffee date for the first time you're meeting somebody. Because what you need to do on that coffee date is even decide if it's worth seeing that person. That's what a coffee date will do. It is a casual, non-committal way for you and that man, or vice versa, to have a conversation and see if you guys are even on the same page. That's what a coffee date will do. But see, women have gotten so used to dating and just wanting to be taken out that they don't understand that there's a reason why you should actually be more selective about who you give your energy to. You shouldn't even want to be giving your energy to all these different dudes. It shouldn't even be something that you want to do. So it's kind of crazy to me that now we're complaining because a man doesn't want to take us on a dinner date or an adventure date and spend a couple of hours with us just for us to find out we don't even like the guy, or vice versa. Like, and then let us have a decent, date or two or three. And now we're in a pseudo relationship or situationship with this person, wasting time because they're cool, or, maybe we enjoy the sex, but it's going absolutely nowhere. And I think that it's actually not a disadvantage. I think what it does, though, is it increases your need for discernment. Like, we just got to stop picking people off of superficial reasoning, and we have to get back to actually caring about the who. The why instead of the who and the where. So I think I think that was a great clip, but I actually think that it's interesting that it's potentially being presented as church folk, or even just people who maybe grew up with a certain set of standards, may in some way be at a disadvantage because they have this mindset. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. The balance. I saw you pop on, man. I know if you wanted to say something. We also got Joe and Mr. Research. I said, anybody, if y'all want to say something, go ahead. Wide open. Oh, we lose everybody? We might have lost everybody for a minute. Okay, there's the balance. The balance. You want to say anything, man? Are you good, man? Oh, we just lost him. Okay. It's lost. But yeah, no. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we got to get back to using some common sense. Yeah, I think we've just started to play into all of this stuff now. Let's say we're playing into the the redefinition of these words, and it's like we just let our common sense go, like we don't know better. And yeah, let's say we playing into the problem. The balance. You want to say something? I hear your audio coming through. Do you want to say something, man? Well, you muted right now, man. We can't.
You got to unmute.
Try it again. Yeah, you off mute right now. Say something for me. Yeah, and I still can't hear you. Say, I can't hear your audio, man.
While he works that out, let me throw a couple of more uppercuts. Oh, now we lost Qua.
You came off stage, Quay.
Well, I don't know what happened. Okay. All right, go ahead, man.
All right, so let me throw a couple of more. So think about this. Name me an African king that actually courted a queen. Name me a nobleman in England who actually courted. No, all those were arranged. The Oklahoma blacks, they met each other at the local dance. Those were arranged dances so that they could meet. There was no just random courting. The New York blacks, totally arranged. Let me make it quick because Balance sound like he got his mic right. California cowboys, those were at the dance. Slavery blacks are the only ones who really pursued each other like that. A lot of us are carrying over the Southern teachings. That's why I asked earlier, what happened to the churches throwing events? You're all Christian. You should be having Christian events once every quarter, if not every month. Don't you want Christians to be married? Do you want them to just keep being single? It is a mega church. But you see but you see the inconsistency. The inconsistency
I feel you.
is our culture says we want X. So when you guys are married and y'all in that bubble that y'all been in since 1990 or 2005, or you guys don't know how it is with the inconsistency with the singles. These crack babies, which is mostly what it is, they have a new way of doing what they're doing. Demon time. Giggly, cracking jokes. You don't have a lot of smooth brothers no more. That's like 5% now. You said you grew up in a different era. You had dudes who were like, hey, you see me. You come and choose. Now the women have trained these 1990 dudes, not all of them, into you chase me. Let me decide whether I'm going to validate you or not. That's not how I grew up. I'm going to do me, and you decide whether you want to get on this boat. I'm not. If you a real man, you would hunt. And then here comes a giggly brother trying to shame you for not being a hunter. No, I don't want to hunt. If she want to come on this boat, then, she can jump in the boat. But she know the rules of the boat. Oh, you a sucker. I can tell you ain't got no. You see what's happening? The men are the problem. As much as we want to blame women, and I'm gonna land so Balance can get in. I'm gonna say this. I'm in love with a stripper. Ain't no women came up with that mentality. Ain't no smooth brothers came up with that thought process. Let me give you one more. My chick bad. My chick good. I need a boss chick. Ain't no. So these dudes, they don't like to admit it. they have created a culture of the sexy red they claim they don't want, while they're simultaneously in the sexy red video dapping her up.
So yeah,
go ahead, Balance. You got it.
Yeah, let me let Balance go. I want to respond to that in a minute. Go ahead, the Balance. Come off mute, man. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hey, what's going on, KP, Chloe, Vince? What's going on, all y'all?
Doing good. How you doing, man? It's been a long time, man.
Oh man, you know I had to go through the most to find this channel. I did it though. I was
No,
2 hours earlier, no exaggeration.
I appreciate it, man. You want to say something real quick, man?
Yeah. I mean, just I missed a lot of the conversation, but to speak to the point that he was making a little bit, I mean, I agree because I mean everything is related. But I feel like as I've been like sitting here watching from the sidelines from everybody, not like this situation, but just in general, like black relationships. And it's like, it's not really black or, I mean, it ain't really men or women. I think it's like, at this point, we just all just indoctrinated. And so like as far as even with him saying like the music and how that's being like, how that's like that's what's incentivizing people. So it's like they're incentivizing people to behave a certain type of way. So it's like it's smooth people out there. I ain't knocking. Let's not get that. Let's not get away from that. I want to think I'm smooth, but like it's still this situation where we only get to see what the media want us to see, even with the algorithm. So it's like, as far as like this show, this a good wholesome show, but it's only going to get as far as its place, and as far as much as attention is going that the society feel like it deserves. So it's like people just be a lot of the time where our culture is at now is like, instead of like pulling back all the masses that like got people distracted, and that actually like people ain't really thinking critically like about what's really happening. So it's like they just being ushered a certain kind of way. Like for example, it's a perfect example about how the music that's being made now, like the farther you get in time, like the more we get to the future, like the music just get more horrible, but they're incentivizing that type of music, and it's only being incentivized to our community. It's other people that's making great music out here, super positive, super woke, for lack of a better term, but that's not the music that they putting out there. So if it was if that's what so it ain't like, don't get it confused, it's entertaining. We all know it's entertaining. We can enjoy it. I can enjoy some of them songs too, knowing that it's not the best shit that we should be consuming, but at the same time it's what's there for us. So it's like it's entertaining, but people ain't seeing it as entertainment. People seeing it as this how most of the people where we from are gaining wealth from being ignorant. And it's exceeded music now. So it's not just music where our culture is being ignorant, is media, is the little jokes that people doing on each other now. So it's like the problem is not, I don't think that the problem is with us anymore. I think that the problem is that people ain't thinking for themselves, and we all trying to chase this. Well, not like say we. I mean, in general, our culture in general is chasing wealth without damn, I can't remember that word, but there's no integrity involved in getting what we feel like we should have. And I think that's the problem right now. Not men and not women. Is we being fed to behave a certain kind of way through certain incentives.
Yeah. So to your point, I agree with that. So we're definitely being fed / AKA being conditioned. But at the end of the day, I still feel like we do have to take a level of accountability in the situation, because the part that we play in it is we validate it. Yeah, but that's where we go wrong. We validate it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of garbage out here. Yep, I see this same rap nonsense, if you even want to call it that. I see these sexy reds and these lottos and what's her name, Glorilla. I see all this nonsense too.
Characters.
But what I see, the interesting thing is what I see in the comments. Right. So when I go into some of the comments of some of these posts about these young ladies and all this twerking and all this nonsense, I'll literally see a situation where a guy will say, man, y'all ain't tired of this yet. And then I'll see 5 females and 2 other guys respond to his comment and say no. Yep. And that right there is a major part of the problem. Yep. Somebody can feed you all type of stuff that they want to, but you ain't got to eat it.
We got to understand though, also that's the audience. So it's like, I get what you're saying. I can agree with it. I might be playing devil's advocate just a little bit, maybe, but
It's all good.
Like where you go into an echo chamber, for lack of a better term, if you go into a certain situation, more than likely everybody that's going to pick a certain type of content. It's a few people that's there to dissect it, but for the most part, people are there ingesting it, like digesting it willingly. So if you go in there and you like, hey, this is not it. It's like, well, that's the population of people that actually think that it is it. So for you to go in there and change people's minds who don't want their mind changed, that's where we making problems at, because there is a whole population of people in our community who actually do want to go the other way. And it's like in any instance, like relationships, whatever the case may be, but people trying to force their ideologies on people who don't share the same ideologies and expecting that they're going to get some type of remedy. And that's a disconnect between, that's insane actually.
So I guess I think it depends on, you know, I guess how you see it, right? So I think you need to have that. I think when you have people who are of one thought, group think, you need to have, as Mr. Research calls them, you need to have critical thinkers. You need to have people that are going to go into the situation and be objective. You need to have people that are going to say, aren't you tired of this yet? Everybody's not going to agree, but that's not the point. The point is not to get everyone to agree. The point is to present them with options. The point is for you to go in there and say, you don't have to do this. You don't have to watch this. You don't have to eat this. You don't have to listen to this. They may not accept it, and that's okay. Everybody's not going to, but you still need those voices, and those voices need to go into those echo chambers, and they need to be saying something different, and they need to be doing something different, because those people need to know that there is something different. There is something available to them that you don't have. All you're doing is planting a seed. For some people, it might grow, it might mature into something. For some people, it's going. It's not. You know what I'm saying? There'll be no harvest, and that's okay, right? Because, like you said, some people don't want it. They're not interested. They're not ready. Whatever the case may be, but you have to have that, because unfortunately, without that, we would all still be. I know I hate this term, but we would all still be asleep if there was no one or nothing or no entity that, you know, shook us and said, wait a minute, don't you see what's going on? Like, can't you see what's actually happening? So we have to do that. It's important that you have those voices, those opposing voices. So that's what podcasts like, I hope that's what podcasts like ours are for. You're right, though, the balance, like, unfortunately, because we're not over here, you know, we're not red pilling, you know, we not a manosphere per se, like we're not, that's not really who we are. So because of that, we're not we're not bashing Black women, although we hold Black women and Black men to accountability, but we're not bashing women and telling them to buy dogs and, die alone or anything like that, because we're not doing that. Our platform, you're right. It needs to be seen by the people who can catch this wave, right? But it still needs to exist, because you still need to have those voices. Our voices need to be heard. People need to see your perspective, the balance, and Mr. Research and Joe and Vince and me and Quay, like, they need to see that there are options, right? And that there's something different than the other noise that they're being force fed, through the algorithms. So I get it. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think that, all of it has a place.
Chloe, I think I like your thought process. And to me, it's like what you're saying is kind of like the Martin Luther King idealistic mentality. And then what happened to him? I mean, his ideas supposedly were supposed to carry on to this day, but it's actually regressed and got much worse than what it was. So what happens if you take on that position? You're probably going to end up a martyr, and it might not even do any good at the end of the day. So, because they also had a dream. Jesus had a dream. He was idealistic, and it kind of just morphed into something more than I think he ever intended it for it to be, in the most negative way possible. That's how you get the crusades and all of that. The weird things that go on in churches. It's a bastardization of what the ideal was. And that was a result of these people wanting to make this change and being the voice, so to speak, in the crowd. I like the quote that everyone knows and familiar with, is that if you, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. So a lot of these people don't even want to be taught. They don't want that voice of reason that you say someone should volunteer to go into. Because then it's kind of like, well, what for? Like, what does that individual get out of it? You can say, well, I might get 1 or 2 converts out of it. I say in the sea of 100 people, 90 won't listen, but 2 of those people will listen. And then you can make the argument, well, those 2 people will go on. I mean, I guess you can say you made an impact, but then what?
All that matter.
That's it.
That's what I'm about to say.
That's 2 less. Like, hello.
I'm a little more indifferent. I'm really, because I used to stress myself over, just like you take them, like you shake them up and say, can't you see what's going on? It's like, no, if they really wanted to know what's going on, there's going to be some sort of introspective work that takes place. And then the person that is ready, if they're ready for that particular knowledge or that change in their life or their mindset, that person is going to come along to meet them at least halfway, but they have to meet halfway. If you're going into a lion's den and all the lions want to eat you alive, yeah, you might convince 2 of them not to chew you up, but the 98 are going to tear you up to pieces along the way. And if you want to be that martyr, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Personally, I think some people take pleasure.
Come on.
I think they do. Yeah, I'm being martyred for telling the truth. Like, yeah, but dude, you're leaving behind a family that was looking forward to you coming home that night. You're leaving behind your own sanity. If you're still alive on this earth to tell the tale, you could go in depression. You're going to be second. I know dudes who go into these Black communities, and I can tell quite now that they're from Detroit. Either they're from Detroit or y'all live in Detroit, because y'all where I'm at, in my neck of the woods. And I know a lot of cats who go into the neighborhoods that I grew up in on the east side of State Fair and 8 Mile. 8 Mile and Gratiot, just like Eminem movie, just like that movie, if not worse.
Bruh.
And they go into these communities and come out beaten, tarred and feathered, and regretting they had ever went into these communities trying to help the young Black youth, or any youth for that matter. So then they ask themselves, well, what did I do it all for? Because it amounted to nothing. When they could have had a peace of mind, just raising their family, raising up the new generation, having their kids, and teaching them the right way to do things. They've given so much of themselves to these people who don't value them, who wasn't looking for them, and now they have nothing else to give to their kids, and their kids grow up, ended up like the people that they went into the communities to try to go teach. So there's like this weird circular effect. I think.
But Joe,
wrong.
but see, that's gonna be the problem, right? So I understand what you're saying, right? But see, the part that we never consider is the children. See, this is the thing. You know, you can take a position and say, okay, you know what? Well, a lot of folks take this position and they say it ain't my problem. That's the position that a lot of people take, right? But what they don't understand is if you are talking about having children, and I'm just using just this one piece. If you're talking about having children, then it's going to eventually become your problem. And that's what we don't understand. See, you like I said, if you got your young folks coming in behind you, right? And because you didn't want to address what was going on, or you didn't want to speak against it, or you didn't want to stand outside of the crowd, see, now that mess festers. And see, now it gets injected into the kids or the young folks that's going to be around your young folks. So see, eventually it still becomes your problem. It's still going to come to your doorstep in one way or another. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think what we cannot, well, it's not a think. I know what we cannot do is we cannot allow a lot of this nonsense that's going on today. We cannot allow it to be normalized. And that's what ends up happening. Yeah, because people don't speak up about it or don't speak against it or do not set an example against it, then it becomes normalized. Yeah, and that's where the problem comes in. Yep. So then people try to, I'm going to call it what it is. They try to survive in this non-normal situation because people didn't speak up or speak against the stuff before it became non-normal. Yep. And then we start to see the outcome or the things that we see today. Yeah. Broken relationships, broken families, everybody twerking left and right, all type of nonsense in the music. I mean, I'm sure you guys see a lot of the same stuff that I see. Yeah, but a lot of that comes from the fact that people just take that position of it's not my problem. So I'm just going to go over here and do what I do. And before you know it, it becomes your problem.
Right.
So you're saying trouble comes knocking on your door. That's what you're saying in a way.
It's coming your way. Just a matter of time.
You know what's amazing is I read a lot of history. The African mind has always been, I got mine, you need to worry about yours.
That's it.
And what ends up happening is there's an African proverb. It's very old. The village that does not take care of the child grows up to burn the village for warmth.
I've heard of that.
You know, you can't have I'm glad because, you know, I'm a hood dude. You know, I did dirt. But I had two stellar people not have that mentality of I'm just going to think about me. No, they poured into me. They gave me certified game. And it wasn't street game. It was city hall game at 16. Right. So this whole mentality of you'll be a martyr and all this, my thing is this. We can't hide on the couch forever and just count our money and have sex with our multiple people. That's the safety of the couch. You got to get off the porch at some point in time. After you done made your money, after you sitting in your car, driving your Tesla for the 32nd time, maybe you need to take some of that stripper money and say, you know what? I have been a trucker for the past 10 years. Why don't I start a trucking company? Why don't I hire people? Why don't I change lives? No, we don't want to do that. We want to stay on the couch and grab that megaphone and say, this is what y'all should have did. This is what y'all, look at all this money I got. We can't do that. One thing that's sad about we as black males, nobody on the stage, but just black males in general, it's such a defeatist attitude. Where are the warriors? Where are the people trying to take over stuff? Well, you just want to work for a person. You don't want to be the supervisor. You don't want to be the manager. You don't want to create a competing company. Okay, you work at McDonald's. Don't you want to make Arnold's? Don't you want to make quad burgers? No, you don't want to do none of that, huh? We can't have the situation where we say, you know what? Matter of fact, Frederick Douglass said this too, and you can't worry about the adults. You got to think about the kids. That goes to what Mr. Price just said. You got to think about trying to empower the kids. You can't be worried about these adults. Adults have this, I got mine, you need to get yours. I look at Africa. Look at all these rich Africans we got, people working. But then you go to Africa, only certain sections look good. The other sections ain't nobody reinvesting. Where's the reinvesting? Well, I'm just worried about me and my family. What? And you wonder why these anti-blacks who hate each other will hold their nose and donate money to blah, 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 and have a whole cul-de-sac that we will be fighting to get into. So I say this. Let's say that C-Lay does martyr and I create something.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
The same people who said it'll never get done be the first one to be trying to be part of it. Mm-hmm. The same people who said XYZ be the first one running the CNN telling about the meeting I had on April 5th. See, we don't have a problem with other folks. I have a black male intellectual problem. I have a black male warrior problem. Nobody on stage, nobody listening to this podcast, but we got a problem with dudes who don't want to take over. They just don't. You working at the warehouse for 5 years, you still ain't supervisor. You still haven't took a forklift mechanic class. You still not the shipping clerk. You still not. But when it's an opportunity to say, hey, Qua, they ain't gonna let you, Qua. They. So we just, we don't have these people. Let me end by getting back to the title. Do modern women see value? Of course they ain't gonna see value. All we is penises and wallets out here. We want free sex. We want free sex and won't even go to the brothel. We want free sex and won't even go to the Asian spa. We're not trying to marry half of them. We just want sex on command while we stagger through life and not be supervisor, not be manager, not take over an industry. I work in medical finance. I got in this stuff by accident. I wasn't trying to get in this stuff. There were so many loopholes in the game, but you know who was trying to stop me? Other black people. Wasn't even white folks. Other black people was trying to stop me. Well, you're not qualified. Don't I do the job real well? Or and is my error rate at like less than 12%? Then what are we talking about? Isn't the goal 75? Am I not doing 120 a day? Well, what are we talking about? Black folks be the worst enemy. So do modern women see our value? They see that we're good to have sex with, but we're not intellectual. And we need more brothers. Oh yeah, Chloe. I dare to say it, Chloe. Qua can't say it because he's trying to build and he's gonna lose fans. So I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. That way I take the bullet. We don't have enough intellectual dudes. We have a bunch of dudes who like it'll never happen. They won't let us, and be the first one to snitch on me and Qua if we would start something next week.
Okay, to piggyback on that, I'm gonna say this.
He started stuff, man. We got to get out of here. See each other.
Taking it back to the title, and then I can land, you guys. I can close it out with this. But
go ahead. We're gonna get on out of here. Go ahead.
I say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking about just while everybody was just talking and how we got like opposing opinions on what's the end game, I should say. And it's like what I'm noticing is like we're not uniform in our think or approach, like in the whole, like everyone. So it's like we have a certain kind of like we all have the same we all want the same outcome, all of us. I don't care who you are, even the ratchet of us. But as far as how we gonna get to that outcome, there's no uniformity with it in the approach or the way we think about it. And it's like it's a right way to do everything. And it don't matter what we think because that's irrelevant. Like it's a way that we can like actually know like what needs to be done. And the problem is just like too many people just getting on the internet and just spitting their emotions. And it's like you could feel however you want to feel, but your feelings don't gotta be, your feelings ain't facts. They don't have to be. So like I feel like we need to like find a way where we can all like I'm talking about no matter what side of where you at with your journey. If you're trying to get to a certain, like we have to have some uniform, like we got to know what we're trying to accomplish. So it's like we've been having conversations about what we don't want forever, like years at this point. And it's like nobody is sitting there like we worried about the people. Like that's why I got that idea from, that we not worried that we not uniform, because like we worried about the people. And as far as like you're saying, like going into a room of 100 people and just getting 2 people to change their mind, and it's like, sure, you can do that, but they already got their room. What we need to do is go over here and make another room, and get 100 of our own people that think the same way, and make our message so loud that the people who actually want the message is a space for them that they can participate in. So I don't think the answer is going into other people's spaces and trying to change their mind or get them to not even change their mind, assimilate faster than what they are, because eventually everybody gonna get to the same space. But age changes people's minds for the most part, no matter what, because physically you just can't do certain stuff no more. But like we need to create a new space that look different from the space that exists already. Like it need to be a space that look cool to people that's coming up. That's like that can be enjoyable. Like when I was growing up, I was in the student union as an organization in Philly, and it was something that I enjoyed to do. Like, so these spaces we need to create an enjoyable space that people can participate in for elevation. Because again, like I was saying, us going back and forth on the internet just saying, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Cool, we already know that's wrong because it's been wrong. It's nothing new. None of this is new. What we need to figure out what we're going to do right now and how we're going to go towards that. And as far as the topic, just to close myself out, my fault, but like to close out of what I was saying, I had seen a message come across the screen. Someone said, women know how to identify good men. It's just no good men out here. And that's like an underhanded like attack, because like, well, sure, but good men look good until he holding you to a standard that you don't want to meet. So the delusion, we gotta get away from that. Like we can talk about problems all day. We gotta start coming up with solutions. We need to have solution-based conversations at this point.
I got you. Go ahead, Chloe.
Okay, so to kind of try to wrap up, my thoughts on this topic and some of the things we've discussed tonight. I think I do agree that we are definitely not in agreement as a community. We're really not even in agreement, excuse me, as a society, but definitely not as a community, right? But I think it's interesting, right? Like to think that we can create a space where people are going to agree, like, hey, it's time for us, let's go into this space and let's try to come together and figure something out. I feel like that's dang near impossible at this point, because we can't even get people to, like the balance pointed out, we can't even get people to agree on what actually needs to be done. We can't even get people to agree that we need to do something. You know, Mr. Research just basically broke that down. We can't even get people to care enough to want to engage, to want to do something, to want to get off the couch. So then to think that these same people are going to want to come together to create a space, I find that impossible. But what I do think is effective is you do have to talk about the problems. And I think it's okay if you talk about the problems, as long as you are talking about the problems in the sense of this is a remedy, right? Like, I think the issue is we've been giving solutions. The problem is nobody wants them. We sit up on this platform, and I'll speak for this podcast because I can't speak for every other podcast. We don't come to the table here just to sensationalize the issues in the Black community. When we have conversations, we talk about the issues, but we also say, this is what's happening. And I think if people did this or if people did that, we could see some change. We could see minds change. We could see relationships change. The issue is people want the debate. The people want us to go back and forth. People want to hear the problems. We share the solutions all the time. Yet people come on here time after time after time after time and say, you don't provide any solutions. No, you're just not listening. You're not receiving the solutions because I'm starting to think you really don't want them. What I'm saying is absolutely not idealistic. What I'm saying is fact. If you go into a room or a situation or environment and you bring a certain type of energy, there's going to be people who are going to respond. You're not going to get everybody. That shouldn't even be your focus. Your focus is to affect some type of change. That's it. So however that looks like, if it is 2 people, you have to understand that it's going to end up being more than 2 people, because then that 2 people, they're going to go take that message and they're going to affect 2 more people, or 4 or 8 or 16. And then those 16 people are going to go affect more. That's how you get change. This ain't no Martin Luther type of stuff. This is biblical, because that's where I come from. There is a scripture that says the light shines in the darkness and the darkness cannot overcome it. The darkness cannot comprehend it. So I need to be that light that goes into that dark room, and I'm light. So it don't matter how dark that room is. I'm going to be seen. And somebody's going to be like, there's light over there. Let me go over there and see what that is. That's what we're supposed to be trying to do. Not saying it's just so dark and I don't even want to go. And this is not pointed at anybody. This is just, I see this mindset. And like Mr. Research said, we're so defeated. Let's get to the topic. Do modern women see value? I have to agree and piggyback with Mr. Research. If you are in the mindset of, I got mine, you got to get yours. If you are in the mindset of, I want to be comfortable all the time, I want to be safe all the time, you have to understand that if a woman is the type of woman that wants to be on the side, doesn't want to be on the sidelines of history, she's going to look at you a certain type of way, period. And I think he's right. Some women, not all, are losing respect for men because they're just not seeing it. They're just not seeing men want to come back into the community and want to rejoin it the way they left it. Men left the community. And I'm not going to say your women weren't pushing you out of it. I'm not going to say that at all. They were pushing you. And you guys just left. You took everything except your dicks. You left those. You would come dip in and out long enough to get a bunch of women pregnant. But you took your provision. You left the penis, though. It was plenty of that to go around. And now you want women to say, well, we value the same way. They're not. And then when you get an opportunity to come back and inject something positive, something that is going to affect change, something that will make a difference, you say, well, I don't want any scrapes, bruises, or cuts. But you guys are our frontliners. We're supposed to back you up. But we see some women, unfortunately, having to stand on the front lines. And that's going to make it difficult for them to respect you the same way. Now, I'm not giving women an excuse because I'm talking about a certain type of woman when I say this. But I mean, I think men have to understand if you guys want to come back into this space, you got to come back into this space with a certain type of energy. It can't be passive.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Is that your closing right there?
That's it. I'm done.
Shots fired. Damn.
Oh man, let me go to Joe. You want to say anything before we get out of here, Joe? We're gonna get ready to wrap, man. It's about this past that time.
Yeah. I'm off, the whole community thing. I get it. My mind can be swayed if it makes sense to do so, but I have to see a productive, it has to be a productive outcome. I have to see it, but if I don't see it, then, and if it's not enough there to convince me that it's possible without me taking on an undue amount of unnecessary stress dealing with, because I grew up and raised in the community, and I just know what the mindset is. And it's just some things, it's like you're trying to make something happen, or you see something that other people don't see. And it comes with a big sacrifice. And I get that a sacrifice is sometimes what's necessary. It's just, what sacrifice am I willing to make? Now, part of me saying what I said earlier is largely doing the part that I'm building myself. You and Chloe, I'm assuming have a family, probably have a kid or two, probably have your career established. So you can think about these things about going into the community. Like you career, family, your house is in order. Now you take care, you go outside. But my house is, I'm 35, so I'm still building my house. I can't take on, the whole world is my oyster type of mentality. I have to zero in and focus on what I'm doing long enough for me to succeed in my career choice. And then I can branch out to possibly having a wife and kids. And then I can branch out further from there. So I'm in my building phase. So part of that, me saying what I say, was because that's just the stage I am right now. That is not to say I don't think it's hopeless, this community that we call the Black community, which I'm not even convinced it is even a community anymore because of how destructive we are to each other. But is it salvageable? Possibly, perhaps, because I do have goals and dreams outside of just my own self-interest. But my own self-interest has to be priority first before I can even consider other people's interests. And I just can't, I don't have the mental space to think about all those things. Just like Salih, what's his name? Salih?
Yeah, C-Lay, Mr. Research.
Salih. He said earlier that a lot of boys, when they grew up, they were told to put everyone else ahead of themselves. And I think about that and I say, yeah, we want to save the world, but then you end up sacrificing yourself and you have really accomplished nothing in doing that. So the sacrifice was in vain. For me, I have to have things that I have set in stone where I can say, okay, if this doesn't work out, I have that set, I have my family set, and my generation set, and then I can think about other people's generations, because it's just a lot. It's a lot to do and a lot to think about. And you're talking about a scope at a magnitude that requires a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of resources, a lot of community organizing. And then again, going into these communities where you may not be appreciated, and you won't be appreciated, and it's not enough to say, well, we don't want you here. They might just start shooting at you, and they might start hunting you down. I mean, I just know how it is in Detroit. That's just the way it is. So, do I want to take on that risk right now? No, because I have to focus on me. If I start going to communities saying this is what is going to happen, and okay, I'm end up in a coffin somewhere, and I didn't accomplish anything except for maybe pissing a few people off because I was in the wrong part of town in the neighborhood, and that accomplished nothing. To me, it accomplished nothing. So, yes, it is self-interest. Yes, it is selfish, and I used to feel bad about that. I used to think like, man, I should be thinking about these kids and all that. Like, but they're not my kids to raise. Yes, they look like me. Yes, they're black, but they don't care about, they care more about themselves than I do. I care more about them and me thinking, oh, we're black, we're in this together, than they do about me being black. Because they'll pull up on me in a heartbeat if they could, if they would. So they don't care, but we're supposed to care more than they care about. To me, that's not, it has to be a two-way street. Like I said, they have to meet somewhere in the middle. If they're not willing to meet in the middle, then you have other people around them that can take care of them, their uncles, their family, their mothers, their fathers that's supposed to be in their lives. I can't, I'm not going to raise nobody else's kids. I'm not going to do it. You know, there are some people who are salvageable. Sile, he was salvageable. He was able to get, but there was at some point in his mind at 16, he decided I wanted to change. It wasn't like some man came into his life and said, hey, young blood, you got to do this and that. And then he just suddenly, no, it was, he wanted to change. The guy came around at the time he was looking for change, and that's how it works. It wasn't just some random guy going talking to a, but no, that's not. No, I can't just go into a Crip neighborhood, blood neighborhood. I can't, and they'll be like, hey, look, man, let's do this. Let's get together, stop all this game banging. What, nigga, who? Get away from me. Then what did I accomplish? I made myself feel good because I had the guts to go into a neighborhood that I grew up in to try to tell them what they should or should not do with their life. These are grown men and grown women. And in my opinion, 16, 15, you thinking as a grown man and as a grown woman, you making these decisions. You're not no little kid. When I was 15, 16, I was making decisions. I was conscious of the decisions I was making. So I'm not buying this whole, they were kids, they were young. No. 6 years old, 5 years old, sure, impressionable, up to 10, maybe 12. But at that point, you have to make those decisions for yourself. Do I want to get mentored? Do I want to seek help? Do I want to get out the hood? Do I want to change my mentality? That has to be everyone's individual choice. And I don't want to take on that responsibility of like, oh, the burden is on me to help them and go back, and maybe in the future my mind will change. But this is just where I stand now. But listening to you guys talk, you're older than me. I accept that you have more wisdom than me, and you may very well be right. But this is just where I'm at right now, and in my journey. And we'll see when I have my career established, when I have my kids, my wife, and then I'm sure I will come around and be like, you know what? I'm ready to do something a little more than what I got. And I'm ready to go into the community and plant trees and shit like that, and teach them about, because I feel like something I can offer is about money and finances and the career path that I know a lot of kids aren't being taught in trading stocks, for example. So that's something valuable. Economics is important. A lot of these black kids, I'm trying to, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I feel like money is a big part of it. And as young black boys growing up, I had a father who taught me how to value money and how to get money in a legal way. Whereas nationally, we want resources, we want to acquire that. So you have a lot of black boys who don't have the father in the home, or the mother's trying to raise the kid on their own, and they only get money the only way they know how. So if I master the skill that I have, which I'm currently doing as of now, it's going to take me a little time. I can go back and say, well, this is the way you can do it legally. So you don't have to shoot nobody, kill nobody, steal from nobody. You can get this money legally, and you can do it by trading stocks, and I can teach you how to do it. That to me, I think would be very useful, because that's what we all seek. That testosterone hits, you want to get money. It's like an instinct. I need resources. Today's resources in the form of money, currency. So if I feel like if I'm gonna make any sort of difference and go back into the community, it would be in that way. So it won't be necessarily me planting trees or talking to, like, I don't like doing, like, I know what matters. Money talks. That's why I love that movie. It's my favorite movie. Money does talk. And these black kids want money. So you can help them solve that problem, the economics, like that one Clyde Anderson, he always focused on that. I like listening to him because he talks about the essence of the thing. It's the economics. if you have to cheat, scam, and shoot your way to try to get some couple of $1,000s and end up in jail or in the ground because of it, that's going to be a problem for a lot of young Black men. But if I can give them a path out by showing them, hey, this is the shortcut. I went through hell, so you don't have to. This is how you get to it. Now, it's still up to you whether or not you want to take the information I'm giving you, probably freely, probably most likely free, and say, look, it's up to you if you want to take it. You still want to go on the streets and do your thing, that's on you. I'm wiping my hands of that. But the value I know I can provide is probably most likely going to be on an economic scale, not necessarily like the social scale like Martin Luther King or the Black Lives Matter scale. I don't see myself doing something like that, but I think helping put money in Black men's pockets will make them feel more secure in themselves, give them a sense of confidence, and so they can go and then feel comfortable raising a family. So when they have a kid, even out of wedlock, they won't feel like they need to run away from the problem because they can barely take care of themselves and feed themselves. So now you give them an option to be able to make money. They can take care of their family themselves. It's a sense of pride that comes from that. So I think that will be my contribution, most likely, if I were to ever do something like this. Just having listened to YouTube, because you kind of changed my mind a little bit. At first I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not doing nothing. Yeah. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all was kind of like, hey, y'all.
Bruh.
You just proved that's right.
Yeah. But it still takes me focusing on myself to let me have the proof. Okay, I'm making X amount of money. Here, this is what I'm doing. Now you can imitate this. Let me show you exactly how it's done. It's gonna be economic. I'm not doing all that. The rest
Well,
of that.
nobody's telling you to march.
Well, it seems like that's what community organizing really is, a lot of marching.
No, it doesn't. No.
Black Lives Matter.
So that's another thing. Let's say we have to change that lesson. I won't go too far into it, but yeah, we have to change that mentality, right? So at the end of the day, the best benefit is going to be to leverage your gifts. Right. So like I said, if you can educate some young fellas through your gifts that you've acquired through your hard work and sacrifice, then that's the route that you take, because that's going to be more appreciated anyway. Plus, it's something that you're comfortable relaying to somebody because you've lived it, right? So that's where the benefit comes from. And then too, just to add an additional, if you do decide to go that route, then you educate somebody on the essentially the handling or the maturity piece of the money. Yeah, so we all know that somebody can be taught how to acquire it, but then how do they handle it once they acquire it? And that's typically where it goes wrong, right? Because people don't know how to handle it. But let's say that's a whole nother show. I got to get us out of here tonight. Yeah. But I'll just say this and then we can get on out of here. Yep, at the end of the day, we got to start somewhere. Yep, looking at the first video, the young lady bypassing my man, for whatever little material stuff, but the other ladies out here seeing the value and scooping them up. That don't have to be that way. Yep, that doesn't have to be that way. Right. So once again, look at your mindset. Yep, look at your mindset. Video number two was talking about courting versus dating. At the end of the day, it all comes back to being intentional. The intentions behind what you're doing. If all the casual dating, all the playing out here, all the leveraging free meals, all the dudes bouncing in and out, that's the downfall, because that lacks intention. At the end of the day, be intentional when you're going through this process, looking for this man or looking for this woman. Yep, that solves a lot of this stuff. And then the last thing and the key is have some discipline. Yep, a lot of folks today lack discipline when it comes to these situations. Yep, and all that does is leave you empty-handed. That's all it do. But man, shout out to everybody who rocked with us tonight. Shout out to my panel. We had Chloe, we had Joe, we had Mr. Research, we had The Balance, we had Vince on the panel. Appreciate y'all holding me down tonight. Shout out to everybody on YouTube and Facebook. For everybody on YouTube, do me a favor and smash that like button. Smash that like for us. Likes are free. Smash that like button. Also, hit that share if you feel so inclined. Let's say this is Kandid Konvos. We do the show every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go live on YouTube and Facebook, so definitely like, share, subscribe. Man, so with that being said, everybody have an awesome night, and we will catch you guys next Wednesday.